Day of spring, everybody, even though it doesn't quite feel like it.
Wow.
Right. So this is the Public Market Advisory Commission meeting. It is Thursday, March 20th, 2025, and it is 5:32, and we'll call this meeting to order. Stephanie, could you do the roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Hardy.
Here.
Commissioner Nemeth.
Here.
Commissioner Bogue.
Here. Here.
Oh, Stephanie, did you freeze?
No, that's what it is.
Uh-oh. Oh, here she comes again.
I have no idea what happened. That was really random. All of a sudden, I was there. So I just want to make sure I'm not duplicated.
You are duplicated, but the other image is frozen.
Well, give me just 1 second. Okay.
There you go.
There I am. Sorry about that. No idea what's going on. So yes, we were saying, Commissioner Bogue, Commissioner Young, everyone's present except for Peter. So we are good on that.
All right. So the next item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any additions for today's agenda that Stephanie sent out a couple days ago?
I have an update briefly on the producer-only stuff, but just a brief update on that.
Cool. Yeah, we'll just add it then to the new business part. Thanks.
Thanks, Emma. All right. With that, could I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Great. Thanks,
Second.
Jeff. And there's a second from Jeb. All righty. So then we are on to our first public commentary, and these will be agenda items only.
Yes. So, are there any members of the public that would like to present public commentary at this time? In order to do so, you just need to press *9 on your phone to electronically raise your hand. All right, I am not seeing anyone. There, of course, is another opportunity at the end of the meeting as well, but I am not seeing any public comment at this time.
All right, so the next item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from the February meeting. Are there any comments or changes to the minutes that Stephanie sent out?
Motion to approve.
Great, thank you, Jeff. And could I get a second?
Second.
Great, thanks, Jeff. All right, so the minutes from the previous meeting are approved. So now we can move on to regular business agenda items.
Great. Well, I wanted to introduce you all to Layla, who has joined us. She is our new Assistant Market Manager, Outreach Coordinator. I invited her this evening so you could meet her. I know Jeff and Jeb have already met her, but for Lisa and Emma, and the broader world out there, of course, because we're on live television. So Layla is here. So I don't know if you wanted to give just a quick spiel about yourself. You don't have to. I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you want to just do a quick intro to the commission, Layla. She looks like she might be frozen.
I think she is frozen. Oh dear.
Okay.
That's too bad. Hopefully we can come back.
Hopefully she'll be able to come back in.
Yeah.
But yes, that is my staffing update. She is here. The other add-on to that is Lunia will be back from her 2 months off the April 19th market. I believe she's coming back to work April 16th. So that's a little bit later based on she's got some other scheduling stuff going on. But yes, hey Layla, we lost you there for a second. But if you want to just give us a quick intro about yourself to the commissioners. I know you've already met a few of them, but not all. That would be awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I met a few of you. I just been working the last couple of weeks at Market. And I'm really happy to join you all. It's such a great place to be a part of. I grew up here in Ann Arbor, and then I was living in Traverse City for a few years, and I managed an incubator farm up there for a while, and just decided to move back down here, and been back here for about a year now. So it's been good now having this opportunity to get back involved with the community. So nice to meet you all.
Welcome, Layla. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
All right. So that is all that I had for the staffing updates. Is now you know Layla. So we will probably have more information to share in the next agenda items, or at least I will.
All right. So the next thing is the vendor applicants.
Yes, so we are in the weeds, quite literally, of all the vendor applications. Part of that is because we shifted to the online application for both returning vendors and new vendors. I think that just led to a very high volume of new folks. We've had, I want to say, like 55 applicants who are new since the beginning of the year. And of course, also processing everybody's stuff. That is one thing that Layla's been working hard on this week, is processing everyone's applications who is a returning vendor, making sure that all of our paperwork is in order. We've been having some mishaps recently. The printer was down for a while. We've been having some IT access issues because, Layla's new. There's also the electrical disruption shutting the wireless at Market. So there's been a lot of, unforeseen delays on our correspondence. I was able to tell returning vendors who gave me their information before March 1st that they were confirmed and if they needed extra stuff. But since then, I've not really had a chance to do so because, as I said, right before I left for a week, the printer was not working for about 10 days. So I couldn't really do anything. But we're working on that now. So vendors that are still waiting for confirmation or still waiting for information about maybe you need an extra license or you missed a piece of that, that will be coming soon. I'm trying to get ahead of it while also managing all the new vendor applications, which I said, a very high volume going on with that. And today, in fact, I was working on the new vendor part of this puzzle, and we are bringing on some new folks. The other complexity of this, of course, is we need to know, who is not returning before we really have a sense of how much space we have or which products we need. So, these two things sort of go together. But as it sits right now, I brought on today another farm, or no, two actually, two other farms. One is a small farm. The other is a mid-size. And I believe also a bagel bakery is who I brought on today. And there's still about 25 applicants that I need to sift through in the coming days. So I don't know if anyone has any questions or comments about that process or how it's been going.
So did everybody?
Sorry, I don't know who was first. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Did everybody? There was a deadline to turn in our application for renewal.
Yes.
Was there any? Did everybody renew theirs, or was there some people who didn't?
For the most part, there was no surprises. There were some people that were like easing into retirement last year that really weren't participating that much, that just sort of made it official this year. So it really wasn't that surprising. There were some issues that people had with the online application or not receiving their paper application. So, we're being a little bit flexible this year for people if we've had it, if we've spoken to them. If we didn't get it directly on March 1st, we had some wiggle room this year because I know there was certain people that I physically had to work with them to complete the online application in the office. There's other people that, again, like for some reason the mail didn't come. So, there was a lot of stuff like that. But yeah, not really any surprises. There was maybe 3 returning vendors that are not continuing. And the rest of the not continuing were all daily vendors, most of which, hadn't really spent that much time with us. With the big exception of Good Neighbor Farm, they moved to Vermont, so they will not be continuing. And then Marupo Eats, I just found out from Bennett last Saturday that unfortunately there's some family health stuff in Hong Kong that he has to attend to. So they will not be attending this year, but he hopes to try to come back in the future. It's just too much on his plate right now. But other than that, it's not surprising. It's people that maybe came once or twice. Not that shocking that they're not reapplying. Yes. Any other questions on Jeb? You were going for it.
Yep. I just wondering, the new vendor applications, like how many you think we have? I know you're not sure of the exact number, and I guess really more importantly, like, how does that compare to previous years? I'm wondering whether you're seeing an uptick or stable, or how it's looking.
In terms of returning vendors or everybody?
New applications.
It seems like it's more to me. It seems like it's probably double. And I think it's maybe because before it was a really large undertaking, right? It was a very long application. Mm-hmm. You had to print it, you had to mail it, you had to do all these extra things, where it's much easier to submit an online application. With that said, there's positives and negatives to both sides. Some things that were really great about the paper application is, people made sure it was fully complete, whereas now there's been a lot of issues with the uploads with it. So some of them, they may not have actually included their application, or excuse me, their licensing with their application. So I've had to go back to people and say, hey, are you actually licensed for this? What is the deal? And following up with them for more information. The other side of it too, because they get like an auto, thank you for submitting. We've had a lot of people checking in with us. Hey, I sent it in a week ago. Where's my response? And I'm like, guys, there's no way I'm going to get back to you in a week. Like, that is just really, really unreasonable to assume. And I think for us, it's also different because we are year round. A lot of people are applying to multiple markets, and a lot of those markets are closed right now. So they're able to focus just on this. But for us, it's one of a mountain of things that we are working on at the moment. So those are some changes that I have noticed, but it definitely seems like we've gotten a higher volume overall right now. Whereas usually it's more kind of spaced out over the year, a little bit better. But good question.
So do you think that they'll end up being a waiting list, or how do you think that's going to pan out as far as how much room we actually have?
Yeah. Well, part of that too is just calculating how many people aren't coming back. And between the daily vendors and the annual, that's about 20 vendors, and it's about 24 stalls if you just like counted everybody. But again, it's not the same calculation because not everyone has a permanently assigned stall. So it's complicated, but I think we have space for at least 10 new vendors, if not 15. And that's kind of like what we're working with right now in numbers. But again, farms get priority. Then from there, it's based on like, do we need this product? Is it something that's unique? Do they have a compelling business story, or all of those other things?
Tiffany, I know you said that IT had been helpful to you in getting the online application up and available. Could they also be helpful to automate the process if something's missing from the application? And then also that confirmation thing of, thank you for submitting your application. And then just put a little phrase in, we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible, but expect it to take.
Says that.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. It already says those things. And like part of the way that we automated it also made it harder for some people to submit, because we tried to go back in when the first round people weren't submitting the application, or they weren't submitting their licensing, or they weren't submitting a product list. So we made that a requirement. But then that made it hard for some of our returning vendors to not be able to complete it because they couldn't figure out that multiple uploads. And there's also a limit on how many files you can upload. So it's very complicated. But yes, it can definitely be edited. It can definitely be updated and worked on. But yeah, we definitely have tried to do all of these things as this process has unfolded.
Okay, great. Thanks for that update. Any other questions on vendor applications?
Yeah, you might have said it and I just missed it. When did you have a sense of when you thought you might be done going through them and get back to folks?
I mean, today was sort of the first day I was able to actually focus on it in weeks. So hopefully now it will be faster now that Layla is more up to speed and able to do the work that we need to be done, because before she was not able to access the files or print anything, or it was a bad scene. So yes, hopefully it's back on track after a pause. But part of it too is that, like, our returning vendors are our priority. We need to make sure everybody is locked in, has all their paperwork and stuff, and then we can go to everybody else. Also because that's how we know what spaces we have.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm hoping 2 to 4 weeks at this point. Any other questions?
I was wondering what the process is that meant the printer being down meant nothing could happen.
Because they are an online application now. So we could not scan anything. We could not print anything. We could not access files because Layla did not have access to any of the drive for any of the market files. So it was a combination of multiple things that just corresponded with the printer also not working. So for example, if somebody wanted to come in that day and scan their sales tax license, we could not do that. And the day that the market application was due, we could not do that. So we had a lot of people coming, hoping that they could print it out for their files. Like, we could not do any of those things. So it made it very difficult in that. So, the only thing we could do was copy. We couldn't scan or print. So it was not the best timing. But, that's how it goes.
Just for uploading stuff in general, phones generally do have that capability technologically to take images that are definitely high enough resolution for uploading documents and stuff. So just in case things go offline in the future or something. And
right. But part of the problem too is the way that we receive the new applications, because it's both a PDF and a link to the SharePoint. And they both don't have the full information. So we have to basically open it in the PDF and also then go to the SharePoint and get the uploads and then combine them in a file through Adobe to merge. So believe me, there's a lot of stuff we're doing. Community groups applications. We've been mobile food vendors, inquiries about musicians. We've also had inquiries for field trips wanting to come to market and getting ready to purchase tokens so the students can come and make purchases when they're here. So that is where we are at with that too. So just scheduling everything, getting dates locked in is where we currently are with that. But yes, getting a lot of inquiries about community groups, getting a lot of inquiries from schools and other sort of places. So we're filling in the calendar as we go. And another piece of good news, I don't know if I had shared with you all yet, is we did actually receive our food safety grant from the Michigan Farmers Market Association, and that's going to fund our cooking demo series, which this year we're doing it the same second Wednesday market of the month. And we are going to be focusing this year on, excuse me, on canning and food preservation techniques, drying, salting, all of those things. So that's good news. We have a meeting with them next week to go over those details.
Great, glad that grant came through.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's all I really had for the events side of it.
Anybody have any questions? Alrighty. Okay, on to facilities repairs and demolition.
Yes. So as I mentioned, we have been having a lot of electrical work at the market, which has been disrupting our internet access, which is the other wrinkle in the printer and files and nothing working, just not physically having access to any printer without having to be mapped onto the printer at City Hall, which is a whole nother process. That is something that should be done soon. I have been told that April is the beginning of the demolition. There were delays because the electricians found elements that were not communicated to them clearly or effectively. So there were some surprises for them that came up, but they are working through it. And if you're ever there on a weekday right now, you'll probably see the electricians' vehicles in those 3 spots right by the old office building. And they are trying to get it done as fast as they can. One of the downsides of this was they thought they were going to have more space to move the electrical box from out of the building into the market itself. Unfortunately, that had to encroach slightly on the Shetler stalls. It is a very small, it's maybe like a 5 or 6 inch encroaching, but we have decided that we are going to reduce their vendor payment rate to make up for that. It's not a huge disruption, but I mean, I just feel for them especially, right? They've had this hit after hit with the office building being closed and everything. So that is the only negative impacting vendors that I have heard as of yet. But if you want to know what I'm talking about, go look at it. It is a large metal contraption right by the old office building. And yeah, demolition still should be on target for being done prior to May market starting up, Wednesday market, regular hours, and all that stuff. So we're still on target. The other aspect of this is while the demolition is going on, you may have seen the signs around the market showing that the vendor assigned parking between 4th and the market office building will be closed, and the vendor assigned parking next to the office trailer between 4th and the middle aisle will also be closed simply for the duration of the demolition. Then it will be reopening, and the vendors who have parking spaces there will just be moved to the other side. We're hoping that since it's April, there's still plenty of parking. It's not going to be a big deal. But, you know, if it goes any past April, that would be problematic. And that is all the updates. Yeah, go ahead.
I can't remember how long, and I know it's an estimate, but how long they're estimating the demolition will take.
It said it was no more than 2 weeks, so 10 days to 2 weeks, they had said initially. And, you know, once the electrical stuff is moved, that was just a really time-consuming and large piece of it. Now it's really just physically taking down the building and removing the debris, so it shouldn't be all that long. Great. And with that said, too, you may have noticed that we moved the pod. So the pod is gone. We removed its contents. We removed the contents of the shed, and they are in a new trailer that is now where the benches and like sort of where the ivy is and our pocket park on the backside of the old office building. So all of that stuff has been moved into that trailer. The shed will also be coming down as part of the demolition. But yeah, that's all I had on that agenda item.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At our last meeting, we talked about a very impressive rust area on one of the beams. I was wondering if there had been any. I had a chance to look at it, and I wonder if there's been a chance to fix that. If there's any discussion about, you know, checking out some of the other of our pillars more damage.
Yep. As of right now, they're 100% focused on the demolition. And I think once that happens, then they'll be able to focus attention more on other things that are also important like that. So nothing that I've heard yet, but is still on their list for sure.
Great, thanks. Anything else?
Not on
Okay,
that.
on to construction updates.
So, remember what we talked about a couple months ago about 2 more construction projects coming around the market? It's looking like those are going ahead. It's looking like those may overlap with each other. It's looking like we may have to make hard choices about which area will be closed, because there's not really an option to not have any area closed for the staging of the building right next to the market, that is owned by the same developer as the luxury Flatiron building on Detroit Street, as well as Braun Court. And there will also be overlap, unfortunately, with all 4 projects at the same time. So I don't know very much information beyond that yet. But these are things that, hopefully if it's going before Planning Commission, it may be a good idea for vendors and customers and people to show up and explain impacts. Because again, I'm not able to do so based on my current role. But I don't know the dates on those things yet. But if I do find them out, I will pass them along. Definitely would be helpful to hear from you all for them. Because again, I've advocated as hard as I can, but a lot of it is also, the developer and the laws within the city of Ann Arbor. I don't know how much they can actually do either, in terms of staging, in terms of timelines. But I just wanted you to be aware that it looks like those projects are going forward, although they've not been fully finalized yet. So I think there's still a chance to at least let your voice be heard in that realm. So, and I'll give you more info as I have it, but that's just the info I have for now.
Does anybody know when the Planning Commission meetings are regularly held for the city?
I'm not sure, but you can look on Legistar and it should have all of that information for you. Even if you just search Planning Commission Legistar, it should pop right up for you. I do not know off the top of my head.
Okay. And Stephanie, do you know the names of the projects? Because that'd help with the search.
Well, one is just currently Braun Court.
Okay.
And the other is, I think it's 303 Detroit. And it's got it's like 303 / something else Detroit. I don't remember what it is, but that's MAVD is the developer on that one. And then 121 Catherine is now just known as the Dunbar Tower, but that one, they're moving very quickly with that one. So that they said they should have occupancy right in the meeting you were all there for by February of next year.
Yeah, no, it's the new projects that trying to find information. So
yep. And that is all I had on that agenda item.
All right. So I had just a couple of questions. We had talked last time that there's approval for new applicants for PMAC.
Yes.
And I know there's a couple people that have applied. It still says on the city website that there are 0 openings on PMAC. So what can we do to move that along so that at least it says on the city website?
Right.
That
I have reached out to the clerk a long time ago and asked her to do that. So I need to maybe just circle back.
Great.
But that was a request I placed a long time ago.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like just a nudge might help. It does say that there's going to be 1 vacancy coming up soon, which is for Peter. So, but it doesn't say that they're accepting 2 more applicants. So,
yep. That was a request. And who knows? I mean, I'm not sure if they had to do something specific with the bylaws before that triggers that to go in. I don't think so. But I will revisit it with them to see what the deal is.
Great. Thanks for doing that, Nudge.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I think we're on to new business.
Yes.
Take it away, Emma.
So Carlene and I met earlier this week and looked at some of the notes from the last meeting that Hannah had kept. from the discussions, and then also some meeting notes that Lisa sent me, or documents from earlier on. We started working on just like thinking about categories and how best to like make it accessible for vendors, and looking at those notes versus the current vendor handbook. We're planning to meet again next month or in a couple weeks. And we welcome for anyone else to meet with us if they want to. But ideally, I think we're thinking to do a little more small group meeting and then try to do like a larger talk with people from at least each subgroup before trying to do anything. But right now, still kind of in the early stages of just putting together that stuff.
Great.
Thanks so much for doing that work. All righty. So the other thing I wanted to bring up is just the thinking about scheduling our next in-person meeting. We had potentially talked about April. If May is a possibility, we could talk about that. I think it would be nice to have an in-person meeting before Peter's off the commission, if we can work that out, just because he's been on so long and put so much energy into it. So opinions from the commission on which month would be better for you.
Either is fine for me.
Me as well.
I would prefer May, just because there's a lot of stuff going on into the beginning of Wednesday market.
Jeb, go ahead.
Just checking. I think I saw this earlier, but when is Peter's last official meeting?
He's through the end of May, so May would be his last one.
Yeah.
And the PMAC meeting in May is May 15th. Jeff, do you have any opinions?
May be good for me, I guess.
Okay. I think we have a consensus on May. And that brings up my next question. Can we invite the city to come so we can start this process for the request for proposal for the community engagement aspect of the market revisioning?
We could try.
And if there's any way that the commission can also help be nudgy on that, please let us know. All righty. Anybody else for any other new business? All right, seeing none. The next item is our second public comment.
Is there any members of the public that would like to provide a comment? All right, I am seeing 2. All right, go ahead and unmute yourself and let us know who you are. 810 area code. I can't see the rest of the number.
Hi, am I on?
Yeah.
You are. Take it away, Debbie.
Oh, hi. This is Debbie Marks. I hate introducing myself every time, but there might be new people listening. I'm a vendor that's been at the market for 34 years, and I just wanted to thank you for the extra effort for pushing for the in-person meeting. Really looking forward to starting the public commentary input on that. That'll be great, and it'll help get everybody excited about it. Once they see the demolition, I think it's going to take their breath away. So we need to reassure them that the market isn't going anywhere. We're going to be there, and actually we need them to help us envision all of that. So thank you for that. Now looking forward to Peter leaving. Of course, we're going to miss him so much. I'm so glad we're going to have that in-person meeting, hopefully with him there. And I just want to shout out to Emma's kitty cat. How adorable. I would hope your kitty cat would always make an appearance. It just livens up the whole meeting. And again, thank you everyone for your extra effort by being a part of this commission. We all appreciate you very, very much. See you at the market and wear your winter coat. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Debbie.
I am seeing another member of the public. Go ahead and unmute and introduce yourself.
Hello,
Yes.
this is Colin Whitaker. Can folks hear me?
Hey,
Yep.
Colin. Yep.
Okay. Well, firstly, of course, I'd like to thank the PMAC for their work in all of this. And also, as a brief comment, I did look up with Registar real quick, and the Planning Commission has in-person meetings bi-weekly Tuesdays at 7 p.m., with their next one being April the 1st.
Great, thank you.
And then my
Thanks,
second
Colin.
was a clarifying question on vendor applications. Stephanie, I think you had said at some point that you thought you had sent out confirmations to all returning vendors, and I wanted to make sure that I heard that right, or whether those are still ongoing.
It's still ongoing. I said I had only sent it to people who had done it like in advance of the March 1st deadline. And for everyone else, I had not done that yet, but it is coming soon.
Okay. Thanks.
Oops. All right. Awesome. I think we lost him there, but thank you, Colin. All right. Well, I think we are now, I don't have any more people.
All right, great. If there's nothing else, we'll adjourn this meeting, and it's 6:09.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all for your work. See you at the market.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.